of thinking of quitting my job and starting my own business.
What? You want to start your own business? Don't joke around. There's no way that will work. In that case, how about you let me become independent too? Cam, extich quasi.
Episode? Independent?
Evolutus. Divorce, I mean.
For pauses, RTGT cameo. My name is Mia. I'm 37 years old and work while raising my children. I didn't work after my son was born, but fortunately, I was able to be re-employed at my previous workplace when he entered junior high school. I mainly work from home, not better. My son has grown up as will be an 8th grader in the Sprickrat shoes. Now that things have settled down with childcare, I'm considering challenging myself with something new in my career. Highness Birdie's 40 years old and 3 years older than me. After we got married, he held a well-paying position as an assistant manager in the sales department. However, my confident husband decided to resign 6 months ago while taking paid leave. He started job hunting with the enthusiasm of getting a higher salary than before. However, the reality turned out to be the opposite. The salary offered was lower than his previous job, and ultimately, the company he joined had worse benefits compared to his previous company, with overtime being an everyday occurrence. So, my family back in my hometown runs a farm in the countryside. My Shua side. As my son was young, he has been exposed to farm work, which has sparked his interest in heavy machinery and crops. Whenever I visit my parents' home, he eagerly helps out with enthusiasm. My parents were delighted to work in the fields together with their grandchild, who quickly absorbed knowledge and grasped things easily, as they enthusiastically dedicated themselves to the work along with my son. However, it seems that my husband doesn't like the rural area where there's nothing. Whenever I visit my parents' home, he always finds excuses and doesn't make an effort to come along. I'm planning to use my long vacation this year to visit my parents for about a week.
I've been entrusted as the project leader and it's quite challenging.
I understand, Dan. From the start, I knew my husband wouldn't come. However, he is still the head of the family. Even though I know he won't come, I asked just to stay safe. Furthermore, when my son and I embark on the trip to my hometown, my husband contacts us every day. I would be very happy if these messages were about our well-being or showing concern for the family. However, my husband sends trivial messages instead.
What should I have for dinner tonight?
There's some pre-made dishes in the fridge.
I wasn't in the mood for meat. I want something light and refreshing. Then, why don't you?
Then, why don't you buy something you'll expect from the convenience store or supermarket where's or harm?
Are you suggesting I just eat convenience store side dishes? Baming.
Besides, I can show. Bring it back, I make whatever you like. So for now, could you have one of the pre-made dishes?
What should I wear for work tomorrow?
I'm eyeing everything and left them on the table next to the bed, so just wear one of those.
I have a business dinner tomorrow, but does this outfit seem off?
I didn't hear anything about a business dinner. Well, as long as it's a suit, it should be fine. That's how it goes when we're at my parents' house. My husband is always like this. He can't do anything by himself, and he doesn't even think about it. No, also, it seems like my husband doesn't approve of my son and me going to my parents' house. That happens every time, but when I come back home after being away for a while, our house is overflowing with garbage.
Hey, Dad always makes a mess of the room whenever we go to Grandpa's house.
I see right, look, you're right!
Why does it always end up like this? And Dad never cleans up either. Let's make him clean up after himself for once.
You're right! Even our son, who's entering his rebellious phase, is fed up with his father. Being at Grandpa's house and doing farm work is fun, but when we come back home, it always becomes unpleasant.
Yeah, I feel the same way too. Can't we just live at Grandpa's house? Both Grandpa and Grandma seem to be struggling with the farm work, and I really want to help them more.
If they hear that, they'll be thrilled. The son possesses kindness and diligence that couldn't be more different from his selfish, alpha-racy and immature father. Like my son, I'm also growing tired of my husband's unchanged attitude and childish thinking. And so after my break, I return to work after a long time. Such a multiple times a year, I have to go to the office for performance reviews and discussions about future goals. Inspired by my son's comment, I approached my supervisor with a proposal. A bruise perspective. Thus could we use our program to digitize agricultural products and promote digital transformations.
Damn, that's a great suggestion, but considering the cost, I can't give a green light.
Indeed, it is not easy to make immediate decisions, such as hiring people with expertise in DX or implementing new systems to promote digital transformation. However, I believe that building a better online shopping system will be significantly important going forward. I think we have ways to utilize the patents we have in dispatch personnel. Also, as an operational model, we already have potential candidate farmers who are willing to cooperate.
I see that this person, Splasher, my guy that research, is fleischwaren to get right back to us now. As you submit a proposal for now then?
Look, yeah, get the kind, react. Without delay, I expect you to do so. You're right, Rem. Without delay, I explained the situation and sought cooperation from my parents. The stagnant sales in their online store, they readily agreed without hesitation. My son's words of wanting to help, because Grandpa and Grandma are struggling, gave me a significant business opportunity. And 6 months after the proposal, so my project was approved. From there, I threw myself into the work with great enthusiasm. But boss, just like my son, I was concerned about my aging parents and the family business. Oh, if this project goes well, and I can assist my parents, it would be fulfilling for me as well. However, it was my husband who crushed my excitement.
What's gotten into you lately? He seems so cheerful every day.
So that's Wester!
It's like you're getting the wrong idea that things are going well for you at work, aren't you?
That's how! Hi!
You're annoying, acting all high and mighty, aren't you? You.
Don't sit down, don't take things like that! My husband is always like this. Oh, this wants to make me feel miserable. Of course I feel quite upset, but I resist with a mature attitude. I make an effort to maintain a smiling face without showing any change in my tone. For some reason, he has always been like this. Whenever I seem happier or when things are going well for me at work, he tries his best to say hurtful things and make me feel bad. This habit of his has become more prominent since we got married, but I'm used to it now, so I don't pay him any mind. Lately, since his sarcastic remarks no longer affect me, he's becoming more desperate.
I don't want to see your face. It's irritating.
I'll make it like a tiny room. I'll have to lock yourself in a room. I'll focus on my work and taking care of our son, so you can handle your own things without any interaction, right?
Don't give me that serious response. You're so boring.
To be serious, my husband got red-faced and started shouting. Whoa! It's just too childish. If things continue like this, I'll truly reach a point where I don't want to see his face anymore. I just don't want to see his face anymore. Not shies. I say I've been thinking about separating or even getting a divorce from my husband. I thought I might talk about this with my parents and my son. I'll say something like, I'm getting divorced because my husband's attitude has become too difficult to handle. I also trust your hand. I can't really say something like that. He thinks the hot such things makes it difficult to make a decision. Another defeated husband starts criticizing my parents' farm work. The place like this.
You're so much like your country bumpkin parents. I can't stand it. It's obvious where you're from. You peasant?
Hey, that's me for stars. He's 40 years old and yet, under happens, Jack great. What's this man even saying? Why try to maintain composure when he insults my own family and tests my patience? He knows that's what he's doing. However, this time I've managed to keep a calm state of mind quite well. As someone who proposed and got my project approved, filled with motivation and confidence, I was immune to my husband's jealousy and resentment. Well, are you capable of work because you're a pure pampered sea boy?
Hey, do you even know who you're talking to?
I know perfectly well.
What are you saying?
It's about messing around. No, I'll give me the same retort right back. Lately, we've been getting into these petty arguments. Before we got married and had children, he used to be a very kind husband. Everything started to change sometime before I started working, and just before my husband changed jobs, and he became overbearing. While our relationship became more strained, my career surprisingly took off. Although things were going well, considering the progress of my work and the state of the projects, I made the decision to resign from the company 6 months later. Ooh. That's a sudden decision, but there were non-negotiable aspects that emerged in the ongoing project. So I engaged in discussions with the company and decided to change my employment contract and continue being involved while officially resigning as an employee. Of course, I had discussed with my husband, but he didn't understand my perspective at all. Sorry, earlier murder. On the night I quit my job, an incident occurred. After our son went back to his room to sleep, it was just the two of us, and my husband suddenly exploded with anger and shockingly demanded a divorce.
Why the hell did you quit your job without consulting me? Quitting means you're relying on my earnings, doesn't it?
Hey, how many times do I have to say it? I intend to continue working. Even though I said independence, it's more like changing jobs. Oh, it's not like I won't have any income. And I'm relying on your earnings to survive. But you what else? You want me independent? Don't joke around. That's never going to work.
Then, how about you become independent from me too?
Achapay!
Divorce. Divorce. I'm talking about divorce. Our child is already in middle school, and there are various financial burdens. I have no intention of supporting another unemployed person.
I was taken aback by the sudden declaration of divorce and couldn't respond. That's because I was thinking about our son, who is the most important thing to me. Is it okay for a child at such a sensitive age to go through a divorce? I can raise a single parent. Those thoughts were swirling in my mind when I heard a voice.
Fine, Mom, get a divorce.
My son, who should have been in his room, stood in front of the living room door with a serious expression. In the face of my son's composed attitude and unexpected words, even my husband momentarily showed a surprised expression.
So, you think the same way, huh? You don't want unemployed mom, right? Besides, it's your fault for quitting your job without consulting me. I'm not at fault. It's a natural decision.
My husband, in front of our child, continued to make excuses and assert that he wasn't to blame. I'm blaming. However, our son looked straight at me and said it once again.
Mom, get a divorce.
My son doesn't even consider my husband as someone important. Hey, are you serious? Do you understand what it means?
Yeah, I've always thought there was something wrong with Dad's attitude. He's always childish and even insults you. Mom, you don't have to consider staying together for the sake of the kids or anything like that. I want you to get a divorce for me, for our family, and for Grandpa and Grandma.
Oh, thank you. You're anybody, okay? The getting a divorce isn't easy, you know? But that would mean changing schools, and it would mean changing schools, and...
Are you sure it'll be okay? Yeah, I'm prepared for it. Let's go now. Actually, I've already packed my things so I can go to Grandpa's place anytime. Dad has gone too far with his foolishness. There's nothing left to say to him, right?
I guess one trick to it, Dan, let's really do it. Or quit.
Huh.
Let's come to this. We're leaving.
Wait, hold on a sec.
Wait, while you two marries.
I'm not the one at falls here. You'll come crawling back to me later.
But Kinestat, yes, we're leaving for now. Accursitations. As per contact you later. Prosper you Well, take some time to cool down. You don't have to see my face anymore so you can relax.
Huh. You're telling me to cool down?
That's right, I can finally relax without you all bothering me. Ignoring my husband's shouting and yelling, I headed to the room to pack my belongings. About an hour later, ignoring my grumbling husband, I left the house with my son. It took some time to travel, but once we arrived at my parents' home, my son seemed to relax. Furthermore, despite my concerns, my son has been enjoying himself and building good relationships with others at his new school after the transfer. As my son settled, my husband and I had another discussion about the divorce. Tarand, he claimed that my resignation was to blame for this divorce and insisted he wouldn't pay any alimony. Despite my disbelief, I made my own assertions while feeling exasperated. I will properly demand alimony from you.
Huh.
Well, I conducted some personal investigations for this divorce, and you are at fault, right?
You're really a country bumpkin, aren't you? Your intelligence is lacking. Do you know what being at fault means? I'm not at fault. I haven't done anything.
Wait! What could be your fault, right? Oh, you definitely have done something. It's been having an affair, haven't you? It's Nancy? Nancy to the pot, man, sir.
Oof.
Oh, come on! You've been having an affair with someone named Nancy, right? I laid out the evidence photos of my husband's affair and the correspondence on the table.
What are you talking about?
This one, everything it is laid out like this. It's hard to play dumb, isn't it?
Wait, you were spying on me? What you're doing is a crime.
I guess you married a person doing something like this, so you're the one violating the law, right? But besides, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I didn't gather these myself. Someone else did. You unemployed, so how do you have the money to hire a detective? Of course I did hire a professional, but it was our son who took these photos. This photo and this one too, it's our son who was keeping an eye on you. It seems that after we separated, our son witnessed my ex-husband walking arm in arm with a young woman. And then our son used his laptop to sync my ex-husband's phone, and that's when a flood of evidence of the affair came out. As he showed me that data, and it prompted me to make a formal request to the investigators to proceed with the case. Son really supported and encouraged the divorce. Our son truly despises the fact that you, his father, are capable of such dirty deeds. That's why I can divorce you without any reservations. But you know, it's utterly disgusting that our child was the first one to uncover your infidelity. But you really are a hopeless man. There's no point in making excuses anymore. But you're my more on you. And by the way, your job change was actually because of a woman, wasn't it? It seemed to even pay compensation to the spouse of the person you had an affair with. You've been lying all almost wrong about how your job change resulted in poor conditions, constant overtime, and reduced salary. I've investigated everything, you know. Nothing.
At this point, my husband's face turned pale, and he teared up.
I'm truly grateful to have a son who is far more exceptional than you. Oh, if only our son could inherit my company in the future. Everything would be secure.
Hey, I'm sorry. I sincerely apologize for everything. Please reconsider, won't you? Come on, even you would struggle with a child situation if you remained unemployed, right?
No, I'm pivoting you, and you will be in trouble. But you're ever you purchase pay. That's coming. If you refuse to pay alimony child support and give up parental rights, I can contact your company and report everything to HR. You know.
Come on, you're joking, right? He wouldn't do something like that.
Oh, so you end up getting fired. You can just find another job. Looks like you'll become skilled at changing jobs. My husband pleaded for help while sobbing, but I completely ignored him. Maybe after that, he kept delaying signing the divorce papers and tried to buy time until a solution came up. But since I had no more sympathy for my husband, I hired a lawyer and left everything to them to expedite the divorce process. And within a week, the divorce was finalized. It seems my husband wanted to avoid the payment amount from increasing further, but he ended up burdened with significant alimony for 2 cases and had to pay child support. Furthermore, if he had to cover his own legal fees, he would have been practically penniless. Afterward, my ex-husband willingly paid the alimony and child support in a lump sum. Since he couldn't afford to pay using his savings, or he shook on debt and made a point to inform me about it. Just desperately tried to appeal, saying he always put me first, but I didn't care enough to give it any thought. Of course, I also demanded compensation from his affair partner. However, unfortunately, my ex-husband and his affair partner got into a major fight, and then their relationship with the affair partner came to an end. The affair partner seemed furious, questioning why she had to pay compensation. But in the end, she paid it properly. It seems she was disowned by her parents and incurred debts. As for my ex-husband, he couldn't afford the rent for the condominium. So he sold it and moved to his 30-year-old apartment while continuing to pay off the remaining mortgage. On the other hand, I have found success in my work and enjoy each day with enthusiasm. Although things didn't work out well with my ex-husband, I've been able to apply what I learned from my previous job to our family business effectively. But through digital transformation, our online sales have grown, and my technologically challenged parents are very pleased. In the end, everything including our family business and the divorce was saved by our son. While I have some reservations about giving a middle schooler a smartphone and a laptop, it seems like my son handles them well. His favorite activity, tending the farm, remains unchanged, and he seems to be seriously considering taking over my work. Recently, he has started learning how to create websites and build e-commerce sites through self-study. With his middle school years ahead, he has so much potential for growth. Always right. I'm excited about my son's future. Thank you very much for watching until the end. Bye,